What's up, everybody? Whack4863 here, and today we're going to get into the most recent Conan Exiles live stream from the devs. We're going to talk about mounts, we're going to talk about some combat changes, and some other things that were covered. This is just highlights, guys, so I do recommend going and watching the whole stream.
What's happening with combat?
Well, if you press a dodge right now, you'll see something really interesting.
I am very excited to see how people react to this because dodging is getting a bit of a rework. I'm actually gonna grab a controller for this because that will. So for those of you who may not see it, there's been some. You're still rolling.
You're still rolling. The distance for the roll is exactly the same for every single armor type. So light, medium, heavy, they're all going to be rolling exactly the same distance. But the speed at which you're going to be rolling is going to be different. So light armor is going to be the fastest, the heavy armor is going to be the slowest.
Then this is the medium armor, which is even slower.
Yep.
But the length of the dodge roll is still the same.
Yep.
But
so the main reason why we're doing this change is because I have those questions like why are you trying to change all that stuff? Is because when it comes to PvP, it's to make sure that your character cannot quickly disengage and you have to commit to every single action you perform.
Yep.
And for certain weapons, that makes them more viable than they previously were. For example, the two-handed sword, it has a second...
So the rolling mechanic looks so much better here, guys. It actually looks realistic. You're no longer rolled up into a super tight ball, able to roll way far away. Now, this is going to change the way that we play the game, the things that we have known, and everything that we've been doing, because... as he says, you're going to have to commit to every action that you take because there isn't going to be that get out of jail free card with the roll. Now, I do feel like it looks a little slow, but I'm really excited to be able to roll in heavy armor. So for this one, I'm going to have to see once it comes out what it actually looks like. Now, they did say that adding points to agility will make it so that you can recover faster after the roll and attack quicker. They said 10 points was probably the minimum amount you'd want in agility, up to 30 points. So we're going to have to test and see what actually makes sense once this launches. The other thing that they talked about was a wind up while running, and I think that's really cool. It's going to create more of a realistic fashion. You're not just going to be able to be full speed out the gate.
Yeah, so basically with the trebuchet, first of all, we increase the range at which you can fire the trebuchets.
Right.
So trying to, block the base by foundation spamming around is not going to work as effectively.
Right.
You can try to do more foundation spamming, but then, yeah, you just can't prevent that. Another thing that you probably can see on your screen right now is the extra GUI.
I have to say, that's pretty decent range. Holy hell! I actually hadn't tested this out before. It's like, this is at 100%. That's a pretty good lob. Like, if there's anything in that area, like, it's getting hit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we also can set the specific angle at which you want to hit, and you can actually see this angle visually, so you'll be able to figure out which works and which doesn't.
Yes, there is a new lever that you can now pull on the trebuchet where it says firing angle, and it goes from I think it goes all the way up to
90 or so.
Yeah, 80 and also minus 25. So at minus 25, 100%. Come on, fire. It goes about there, and then the stone bounces away. And then you saw how far it went when it was on 45. But let's see how long it'll go when we crank it up to 80, because that's... I mean, that might just be a straight shot up in the air, but... Because like 45 is the ideal angle, I think.
For the most part, yes.
Yeah. But then depending on where you build, depending on how you want to use it, for attack or defense, etc., then you can change the angle and then
sure, and depending on what you're trying to hit, because
yes,
that's really important. We were trying to play test this with building huge castles from different distances and hitting specific targets, and it was much easier to hit what I wanted to hit instead of just creating a huge amount of damage.
Right.
There's also a small change to how damage is being applied with the boulders. They don't bounce as much as they used to, so you're not going to do as collateral damage as they used to be able to. And another thing which is really important, the gut bubbles.
Yes.
These boulders can go through gut bubbles now.
And I think that's not the only thing that's going to be able to go through God Bubbles.
Arrows, I also believe orbs will be able to do so.
Yep.
So the game will not devolve to you just coming online once a week, refreshing the God Bubble, and going away. You actually have to stay, you have to play the game if you want to keep your base safe.
All right, guys, so Apex bases are really what we're talking about combating now with the trebuchet. Now, the trebuchets needed an update for a long time. It needed some extra distance. It needs probably better damage. I don't know if they increased the damage or not, but it definitely needed better distance. So I'm not sure if outside of render range is too far or not. I don't know. That's going to be something that's going to have to be decided, because I know there's Apex bases. There's places where you can build that is outside of render range. So that's what this is. This is a mechanic that can offset that. It's a gameplay balance, right? So totally okay with them updating the trebuchet. I think it's cool. Great. Let's move forward. One thing that they did discuss was the God Bubble. Trebuchets are going to be able to go through God Bubbles, but as you can see on the screen, there was some clarification today as far as arrows and orbs, and they will not be able to go through the God Bubbles. So that's on the forums. I will link that in the description of this video so you can get over there and check out everything that people are talking about over there as far as God Bubbles, trebuchets, and all of that.
Basically the same as finding any other kind of pet. You will need to find a baby horse, a foal. You pick it up, stuff it in your inventory. I'm not sure how, but magic, I guess.
Yeah, you have a magic pocket.
And then you, once you have this foal, you bring it over to your stables, where you put it there, you feed it, and then after quite a while, because I think it's plant fiber, right? And some other stuff.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it will eventually become a grown horse. And so stables are basically the same as animal pens, but the stables are for horses, and animal pens are for all the other animals that you can have.
Yes, baby horses. So all you pet hunters out there, you can rejoice. We have a new pet that we can track down specifically for mounts. And they did give a quick and brief little recap of what areas you could find some, but they did say they weren't telling where all you could find horses. So get out there and search once the patch comes out. I think the new stables looks very, very cool. I'm not sure whether you're only going to be able to process one or multiple mounts in this stable. I think they just reskinned it from the crafting screen because of the size of it. I think it's going to be very, very small. I don't think you're going to be able to fit 5 mounts in there all the way across, but it's very cool. It's very cute. It can fit inside of a base, or you could line these up side by side and have multiple stables. Awesome.
And as some of you have been asking already, like when we roll this out, the only types of mounts that will be available are horses. I can't just hop on my horse just like that.
You're gonna break your spine.
It's gonna be bad for me and probably bad for my horse as well. What I need is a saddle. So
Exactly.
at level 20 is when I can unlock the novice saddle maker feat, which requires me the armor feat because
It's technically an
it's
armor.
technically
for
horse armor. Yes, it is technically horse armor, which then gives me the saddler's work table, a light saddle, and then as I level up, I can unlock other types of saddles as well. So there's light, medium, heavy, much like with regular armors. We also have a Aquilonian scout saddle, which I'm going to show later, and a savage cavalry saddle, which I'm also going to show later, which is really cool looking. Horses are significantly faster than running on foot, just from a general perspective, right?
Their maximum speed is about 50% higher. So the top sprinting speed of a player is 855, and horses are about 1300.
Right. That's a pretty decent jump, and that's only from just this regular like trotting animation.
No, that's from galloping.
Oh, that's from galloping. Right.
All right, so since the beginning of this mounts journey, Funcom's been very clear that it's specifically going to be horses with this update. They did go on to talk about possibly adding different style mounts in the future, like rhinos and elephants. mammoths, and even a giant spider was brought up, but that would be something that's very far down the road. They did say that modders would be able to go in there and kind of pick that up and mod the crap out of it and kind of make whatever they wanted to make into a mount. So we'll have to see who picks that up and makes a mount first. On to the next little bit of information there. We have different style saddles, different style armor, whatever you want to call it, and a whole new crafting table. Now, in my mind, if there's a whole new crafting table, we are going to see a lot of different variations of the saddles or the armor. I think we're going to see that just kind of explode. We'll probably also see some DLC for different colors and looks and things like that, as well as this evolves and kind of takes off. So that's expected. The last thing I want to touch on here, guys, is the speed at which your mount is going to go. 50% faster than your full-on run, which I don't think is going to change the game in a way that, say you're getting a purge across the map, you're going to use a map room instead of riding your mount there. I also think if you're in a PvP situation where an ally of yours or a base of yours across the map is getting raided, I don't think you're going to ride your mount to that base, because I don't think 50% additional speed is fast enough to make up the time that it would take to get there versus just hopping on a map.
Mounted combat. So, yeah, as you said, swords, axes, maces, and pikes, all usable from horseback.
Yep.
Two-handed swords, no. No hammers, no daggers. So most two-handed weapons, apart from pikes, are not usable on...
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Lances. They are brand new.
They're brand new. This is a new type of weapon. You cannot use lances while you're not on the horse. You can equip them. You can walk around with them.
Yes.
It's pretty funny.
It's like you equip them like this, and then you can do pretty much nothing. Yes. They might be a bit heavy to swing around on foot.
Well, they're not meant to be swing. And this is I think the only weapon that we have in the game which you do not technically attack with. You don't swing with it. You just prep it, and you point in a specific direction, and everything it hits will take damage.
It even glows to show you that it's a powerful weapon.
It's mostly for the person you're about to attack, to kind of showcase them that if you get hit with this, you're going to take a lot of damage.
Yeah. And as you can see, I have a fairly... my range here is fairly limited in terms of just moving back and forth like this. But it's a pretty powerful weapon when you hit someone with it.
Yeah. So the thing about the lances, as I spoke about being knocked out from the horse, usually the weapons will deal equivalent amount of endurance damage as they do health damage.
Right.
The amount of damage that's being absorbed is based on your saddle of your horse. With the lances, they will deal a damage which is proportional to relative velocity between two targets. So,
right.
Without going into too much more.
I was going to say, could you put that in community manager speak?
Okay, so if you hit a stationary target
Sure.
on full gallop, it's
Right.
going to apply X amount of damage.
Sure.
If you hit something that's also running towards you, it's going to apply X multiplied by 2 damage.
Of course, right. So the faster two things are moving towards each other,
Yep.
the more boom it's going to give you once you hit it.
Exactly.
So this is pretty much exactly what I expected when they started talking about mounts. One-handed weapons except for the spear. I don't see physically the possibility of using a two-handed sword on the back of a horse. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think all the weapons that they've chose to incorporate into the mounted system make perfect sense in my mind. And I don't have any issues with any of it. I do want to say that I'm still looking for mounted combat in PvE. I haven't seen anything that says that I'm going to go up against another mounted enemy in PvE. I know PvP, you can, hold jousting tournaments, or, you're just going to end up, fighting on horseback, whatever you want to call it. But I don't want to lose something for PvE, because they have stated mounted combat, and they have not selected, or they have not said, oh, it's mounted combat and PvP only. So I still think there's a possibility, a chance, that when this update comes out, we're going to find that there are NPCs in the world that are mounted. And even though they haven't shown that, that's my expectation, that's my hope. And they are really good about kind of putting things in updates that they don't show before. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh yeah, I can ride with that. That's pretty good.
And you can use your one-handed weapon.
Oh yeah, there we go. Ah, nice.
The reason why we didn't want to include the shield is because it makes the combat a little bit more complicated.
Sure.
So I think it's really nice that they've given us the ability to have a torch as well as a weapon. I think that's a must. I would like to see them add the ability for us to use the rope or a chain to drag a thrall back. I think that would be really cool. I almost think it would be cool if you could like rope up a live person or a live NPC and like drag them, like, like the old Wild West movies, right? Like you're dragging something behind you, your prisoner or whatever like that. So I think that would be cool if they added that in the future. Currently, they said that's not possible. It's also not possible to use a shield, but at least we have torches. That's all I have for you guys this time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you check out the entire stream. It's linked in the description below. There's a lot of things I didn't cover. If you want to read it, you can go over to the forums. There's a link to Multigun's write-up. He's absolutely amazing, super detailed, covers everything, guys. Definitely go support that. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. I'll catch you next time. Peace.